guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Tita Lavinia of Tita's Pageantry, and for this episode, I'm going to be giving you the ultimate Miss Universe Philippines 2021 review. So please make sure you stick around. Please subscribe to the channel as well as hit that bell notification button for your weekly pageant picks. This is a special episode, guys. You wouldn't want to miss this. So, a week ago, the girls flew to Bohol, and this was after several moves and their comfortable stay at the Hilton in Clark, Pampanga. So this time around, they flew to beautiful Bohol when all of the plans seemed to be more concrete, and it was really nice because Bohol is, of course, one of the best tourist destinations in the country. They were able to take the girls out. I mean, the trip was pretty short. The events were pretty abrupt, but it was nice because, you know, you had opportunities for the girls to see what Bohol could offer. They were able to experience Bohol's hospitality, and we were also able to see how beautiful Bohol was because they were also very generous in promoting the place and adding video inserts within the show. So if this is a way to promote Bohol, I think that they did a good job. If all of those beautiful drone shots was to promote Henan Beach Resort, then yeah, go for it, because the property itself is really beautiful. That I'm now thinking, if they can consider bringing back Miss Universe to the Philippines, I hope that they tap Henan Beach Resort in Bohol, because it's a sprawling property. I heard that they have about 400 rooms and the poolside is fantastic. I actually wish that they could have had an outdoor event instead of a closed door or an enclosed stage setup. But then again, that's just me wishful thinking, because everything about the property is just so beachy, it's so tropical, and it's so expensive looking. So now let's move on to the actual set design from the show. I did not think that it was mind-blowing, but at the same time, I thought it was really commendable given the short period of time that the organizers as well as the people behind putting up the set were concerned. But I thought that they did a really good job. They had a glossy stage. It was a little smaller. What was nice about the whole stage was that they had LED lights, they had a chandelier thing going on, and they had a runway, which was something that I think Miss Universe is really pushing for, because they had a little bit of a runway situation last year as well. So in terms of set design, I really couldn't nitpick even more, because guys, we have to understand, they staged the show not to give us something spectacular or amazing. It will never be at the same level as the production of Miss France or maybe Miss Universe Thailand or even Miss South Africa. But the purpose of having this show is to present something for the coronation of the next Miss Universe Philippines winner. It's not to dazzle us, because I think by this time we've already established that everybody is in a hurry, and they're just really trying to make ends meet in terms of having the plans all aligned. I think that had they had more time, more budget, maybe more of a concrete plan, or maybe if it weren't in the middle of the pandemic, then they would have probably given us a better show. But in terms of what they presented us, I thought it was pretty okay. And if I can be more descriptive about it, I think that the set design and the overall feel of the show is very much like how I would see a Sunday noontime show, but for a very special episode of that Sunday noontime show, maybe an anniversary special, maybe a Christmas or a Valentine special. So they had the lighting. I think what saved everything really was just the HD cameras that they've been using. But in terms of having it streamed from the KTX platform, that one was just a little more challenging for me, I think. So when the ladies came out, they all came out in uniform pink dresses. I think that they looked really pretty. It's just that the pink canceled out the pink lighting as well. So it didn't really have to pop anyway. I just wish that they could have added maybe more sheen or maybe more brightness to the opening dress. But again, this is me asking for more. It really didn't matter. Hopefully they could have shortened the dress a little bit, because I think the length was just a little off. Maybe a little longer for some of the more petite ladies. But other than that, again, this is just me nitpicking. There was absolutely nothing wrong with the pink opening dresses. Next, the choreography. Well, you know, given the shorter period of time for them to rehearse, I think it's understandable for them not to have the most perfect choreography. I think that they were able, of course, to perform this on stage. They practiced this. It wasn't really as impactful. This isn't a choreography that most of our friends from TikTok would probably copy. So I felt that it was pretty generic, but it was something that was needed to really liven up the production. It was nice that they had Rabia on board. I think that had it been more normal, Rabia could have probably had more of a, an amazing exposure, but she was there. I thought she looked really, really pretty. I thought that her makeup was on point that evening. I just wasn't crazy about the opening dress that she wore. I think it was from the sponsor, Shine. I felt that the length could have been shortened a little bit so that she could really go into that disco vibe, because I felt that it was just a cocktail dress and she was just dancing around with everybody. I felt that the whole show itself were more sponsor driven. So this time around, the sponsors were just so involved, and for me, it just dragged on the actual show. But again, I understand why there were so many sponsors involved and so many sponsor awards. And I will also note that maybe Billy's presence contributed to the whole show looking more weighed down than the previous show. I guess because there were things that haven't been resolved and things that haven't been addressed. For those of you who aren't familiar, Billy was involved in a series of viral videos dissing some of the ladies who were in the running for Miss Universe Philippines. So I thought that there was a bit of awkward energy, because when I was there watching it live from KTX, they also had a chat box, and every time Billy would appear on screen, there would be passionate commenters who really weren't happy with her presence there. And I felt that the organization could have given more of a tougher stand on what she did and maybe explained their position. But I guess this organization does have a habit of sweeping things under the rug, and maybe they thought that if they could just get on with the show and have Billy there and not address the issue and finish the whole show, then everything will be okay. When the special awards were given, people already had an idea where the direction of the final show was headed, because there were so many special awards, and these were shared by only a few of the same girls. The major awards this time, it went to for Natcos, that went to Corinne Abalos of Mandaluyong. Best in Swimsuit went to Bea Luigi Gomez of Cebu City, as well as Best in Evening Gown. Now, let me just be clear. The results for the Natcos, Swimsuit, as well as Evening Gowns, these were taken from the preliminaries. So even if the other ladies performed really well at the finals, that could just propel them to top 10 and then top 5. But for the special awards, that was taken from their performances at the prelims. Because I know a lot of you have violent reactions about that. Now, if it were just up to me, I thought that they could have reconsidered the distribution of the awards, because number one, I think we are all in agreement that Steffi is one of the most marketable contestants in this competition. But looking at the results, Steffi just won one special award. Now, I don't know if this is deliberate, or I don't know if they're not seeing what we're seeing. But yeah, that was pretty unfortunate. Even Victoria Velasquez Vincent wasn't able to score one special award. Now, it's also very telling, like what I mentioned earlier, that if you are keen on these things, you would have an idea where this is headed, because Bea Luigi Gomez alone won 2 sponsor awards, and she also won 2 major awards. So I don't know with you. In our term, that's called hakot. Next. So one of the major sponsors of this competition is Shine, the fast fashion labels. I felt that the Shine mini fashion show was unnecessary, but then again, maybe they've pulled in funds for the actual production, so I would definitely understand. It's just that this company, again, leaves a bad taste in the mouths of people who have been following fashion news, because this company has gotten itself in hot waters for maybe exploiting and copying designs from lesser designers. So yeah, this is a common commentary that I get to see all the time whenever there's a mention of Shine. And it was just really unfortunate, of course, that the ladies had to endure that, knowing that some of them have stronger advocacies about empowerment, about being sustainable. So I don't know how this company's principles are aligned with the organization, knowing that these negative news and articles about the company, they're out there, they're available. They make the first cut, and they cut to top 16. And those who were able to make it were Albay, Angeles, Cavite, Laguna, Masbate, Pangasinan, Romblon, I'm happy for Romblon, Mandaluyong, Manila, Parañaque, San Juan, Taguig, Aklan, Cebu City, followed by Cebu Province, and lastly, Misamis Oriental, who I was really, really happy about that they were able to recognize. Evidently, absent from the roster, unfortunately, of course, is Pasig. She was getting a lot of support because of that pretty face and that, beautiful personality. But yeah, I felt that she could have made the cut, although I don't know who they could remove so that she could come in. But all in all, I think the top 16 are also the girls that we have been eyeing. Like what I said, this is pretty predictable in terms of at least the top tier of ladies who could possibly get into the semifinals. Next, we move on to swimsuit. Now, the swimsuit competition is a little interesting because I really didn't know what to expect. How do I feel about it? It's a little bit of Victoria's Secret, but for me, it ended up like a smaller scale bench body show. Does that make sense? So the ladies had two choices. They could either parade themselves in a red one piece or a red bikini. I personally prefer the red bikini. I thought that the red bikini cut was a lot more flattering than the red bikini that were available to them during the preliminaries. My only issue that's eating me is that the fabrics were just so shiny. It looked like lingerie. So I like the cut. I mean, the girls were covered. I mean, they were secure, yeah, but yeah, it was just a lingerie show, and they had all of these accessories, these trappings, and maybe they wanted to emulate a little bit of that Victoria's Secret vibe going on. It wasn't really that bad, but there were some misplaced accessories there that I didn't really understand. But if it were up to me, I thought that there were 3 stellar performances at the swimsuit competition or the swimsuit segment. Number 1 for me is, of course, Leren May Bautista from Laguna. I thought she was long and lean, and it was a delight to see her sway her hips expertly on the stage. I was pleasantly surprised with what Maureen Robowitz could offer, because I heard reports that, she was highly favored by the camp, that they were just a little worried about her pasarela. Well, worry no more, because those hips, they've been the talk of the town ever since. And if it were just, again, up to me, I just could not stop playing. So RIP, replay button, Steffi's performance. I thought it was commanding, it was playful, it was something I could see at Miss Universe, it was something I could see at Miss Grand, it was something that I could see at Supranational, maybe even Miss Earth. So this is a pageant unicorn movie, you guys. So yeah, I thought that they could have really presented Steffi with Best in Swimsuit Award on a silver platter, but they did not, so we might as well have that performance saved on our social media platforms. Next, right after the swimsuit performance, the ladies changed into their evening gowns, and all of the 16 ladies were able to parade on the ramp wearing their evening gowns. Personally, I really wasn't blown away by the designs. I think there were more gowns from the prelims that really shook me, but this time around I was just, cruising easy breezily. Nothing really crazy or spectacular. Nothing super ugly anyway, but I'm just saying that, yeah, in Filipino walang lukso ng dugo. There were looks that I liked, but not really looks that I would happily decode and, add more visuals for my Sparkle Sunday segment. But having said this, I think I would be giving more of an emphasis this time to Kisses de la Vigne. Because you know what, guys, prior to the final show, I actually did a little bit of a review on the Titas of Pageantry page, and I did mention that, Kisses actually has the potential to go further. She could even go further and get herself to top 5 if she aces at least her Q&A. But there was this one thing that I was really worried for her, and I was worried about her styling. I thought that they were playing around with making her more mature and that she was losing time and really nailing what works for her. So for her to open the evening gown segment in that beautiful white gown and that cape by Louis Pangilinan, looking all tanned and fabulous and, looking her age but not looking aged, I thought it was genius. I felt a newfound appreciation for Kisses, even more so when she was called in the top 10 and she gave her peace of mind. She was just so happy and so grateful to be there. And this is someone that it's just so nice to see bloom before your eyes, because if you are bashers of Kisses, or if you did not see Kisses as a worthy opponent, as someone who just happens to have a fan base, then I think now would be a good time to really recognize the merits of how Kisses and her fans conducted themselves throughout the competition. They were well-mannered, Kisses was well-mannered, and Kisses reminded us that we need respect for each other, that we need, just happiness, even if that means getting bombarded with all of these negative things said online. So yeah, newfound appreciation and respect for Kisses. Next, they cut to top 10, and the ladies who were able to get in were, of course, Kisses de Lavin of Masbate, Maureen Robowitz of Pangasinan, Janela Cuaton of Albay, Victoria Velasquez Vincent of Cavite, Corinne Abalos of Mandaluyong, Bea Luigi Gomez of Cebu City, of course, Ingrid Santa Maria of Parañaque, Claren May Bautista of Laguna, and Steffi Aberasteri of Cebu Province, and of course, the last one, Katrina Dimaranan of Taguig. Evidently, they left out Ayin Bernos. It was a little sad because I thought she had a beautiful gown as well, and I think another sad snub is Jasmine Umali of Manila. Although she changed her gown into this white number, I thought that her green number was more successful. I did not think it was fair to leave her out of top 10. Unless, of course, there are other factors and other things that they considered. But yeah, it was a little sad. Next, they went into cutting top 5. I thought it was really brutal because the top 5, top 6 ladies in our heads were actually the same set of girls from top 100. I mean, this was a really pretty easy cut. But now that we're here, now we are feeling the weight on why this was a difficult cut. They had to forego Laren, which was really heartbreaking because I felt that she did really well at swimsuit. She did really well at evening gowns. In fact, for evening gowns, she was the one with the most polished presentation. So I don't know. I would definitely understand why she cried backstage. And there was no kisses as well. And I felt that even with a little bit of that slip from the swimsuit, that she was able to show a physique that, you know, we weren't expecting her to have. And of course, that stellar performance at evening gown, I felt should have been given, should have given Kisses a push for top 5. So really, I did not know what they were thinking. But anyway, top 5, strong top 5. I think by the time that they cut the top 5, we were already okay with the idea that, you know, any one of these ladies could win. Steffi was the first to be called for the Q&A. Now, I think that generally all of the questions that were given were a lot easier than the questions from last year and the questions at Miss Universe. So for Steffi, she was asked, how will you empower young women and help them become more socially aware? Steffi answered, now with social media, this tool has been a driving force in all of us, but we have to draw a borderline so that this youth will not take advantage of social media. We have to see the social media the way it was designed, which is to unite people and never to divide us in the first place. We have to be responsible users. Now, I think it's pretty safe for us to say that with this answer, we already knew where Steffi was headed in the competition. Even Steffi knew where she was going to be headed. And I think that the issue with Steffi when it comes to her nerves during Q&A is that she does have a tendency to zero in on just a keyword and build a narrative around that. She did that from the first question of the preliminaries when she interchanged compassion with passion, maybe because of the sound or word association. And she did that again this time because the question was about becoming socially aware, but then she zeroed in on social media. In a way, it's in connection to each other, but I really would have wanted Steffi to really dig deeper and really look for ways on how we can be responsible in checking out social media and not just with a generic answer that says, you know, we have to be mindful. I would have wanted something more specific from Steffi. She was already on the right track for Q&A. I think that she just needed more of a push to give her more of a deeper hugot, they say. What I do like about Steffi though, and this is something that I have mentioned many times, is that even if Steffi recognizes a misstep in a performance, she never breaks character. You could never see her break down or lose composure. I mean, you could feel that her, you know, the cogs in her head are working over time. It's just that she's always so composed and poised. And if we were maybe in the 90s and the early 2000s with the belief that, you know, all you have to do is just sound right or maybe not F up, then you're good to go. Next was Katrina Dimaranan. High hopes were really riding for Katrina Dimaranan because everybody knew how good her comm skills are. Katrina was asked, what do you think is the most inspiring quality of a Miss Universe Philippines should possess and why? And she answered, it would have to be the ability to have compassion and relate to other people because as we know, Miss Universe has to be able to connect with people in all different countries from all different classes. I thought that was the most accurate answer of all. So I would have to say relatability and compassion, because as a Miss Universe, it's your job to inspire others and to genuinely want to help, whether it be through organizations or any companies or groups of people. So there you go, compassion, and of course, and it was cut. So what I think about this Q&A performance from Katrina is that this is supposed to be the part where her high energy could have made more sense. She had her nerves, written all over her face and her body language, and I have no idea why this is so, because she actually was on the right track with her answer, and unfortunately, she did not end strong, and that the answer felt tentative. So maybe if she could have more of a command in her delivery, the same way we have been seeing her. Katrina is commanding, she's fierce. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to display this. So instead of us rallying on how accurate her answer was, we were left thinking, was that it? It didn't seem, heavy to me, because even if she was on the right track, she wasn't able to deliver it with conviction. Next, Victoria Velasquez Vincent. In your journey to be Miss Universe Philippines, what has been the most inspiring part and why? I thought that this is something that Victoria could really ace, but it was just unfortunate for her. She had so many technical and sound difficulties that I don't think people in the production department even rectified this, because she was left her own devices speaking even if people weren't getting, weren't hearing her. So she answered, especially during the pandemic, people have risen to overcome everything that they've gone through, and I've been incredibly privileged and haven't had to go through that many issues in my life. But meeting so many people who have had so many battles, hearing their stories and hearing how they overcame them, that's what inspires me. That's what inspires me to continue to help Filipinos in the way I know how, which is through my advocacy, through architecture and heritage conservation. Now, I honestly thought that this answer was a little lengthy. She could have just removed the first part and just zero in on the part that says, what inspires me to continue is to help Filipinos in the way I know how, which is through my advocacy, through architecture and heritage conservation. This way, she could have more time in opening up more about heritage conservation, what she actually does, and why this is inspiring. This was a little bit of a missed opportunity for Victoria. Next, we have Maureen Robowitz of Pangasinan. She had the shortest answer out of everyone. And she said, she was asked, if you win the crown tonight, how would you inspire other women to get out of their comfort zone? And she said, just me being here, I am getting out of my comfort zone. I am conquering my fear because I'm afraid to talk in front of a lot of people, but I hope that through me I can inspire so many to do the same and achieve their dreams, but also reach for the universe. I thought that this was concise. I thought that this really embodied who Maureen was, because if you've been fans of Maureen, or if you followed Maureen's journey, then you know that this isn't someone who's making things up. You know that's her personality. When we all watched her at Asia's Next Top Model, we knew she was timid. We knew she had issues opening up and becoming, the belle of the ball or the hostess with the mostest. So we knew that she was really reaching from experience and really sharing her thoughts and really giving us a piece of her heart, a piece of her mind. So from Q&A, I honestly thought that it would be Maureen to really bag the crown. However, it was Bea Luigi, and for Bea Luigi's question, she was asked, if during your reign as Miss Universe Philippines, things happen in your life that make you sad and uninspired, how would you be able to continue inspiring others? And she answered, it is very evident that all of us went through difficulties during the pandemic. It is also proof that we are able to rise to the occasion, and if anything happened to me during my reign, I will not give up and inspire others by rising to the problems and I am encountering, and by inspiring them that what you are going through, you will be able to overcome it. So I actually liked the answer. I just felt that it was more on the generic side. I mean, there wasn't anything wrong with her answer. There wasn't anything that popped or had like maybe a recall. So just being safe in the competition, let me tell you, helped Bea Luigi. So now let's move on to an analysis on why the ladies got their positions in the first place. So I'll move on to second runner-up. Unfortunately, that went to Steffi Rose Aberasturi. I know we had higher hopes for Steffi, and for those of you who are hurting, for those of you who felt that Steffi was the whole package, and even for those who aren't even pageant fans could see that Steffi had the Miss Universe look going on, unfortunately, she couldn't advance further. It would be easy to blame the fact that Steffi was from another camp anyway, and that Steffi really could not stand the chance because she's from the rival camp. But looking at how Steffi performed, I think she was given due recognition. But I think the latter part of at least the awards should have been given to her, like swimsuit. If Steffi was stuck in this position, unfortunately, it was because of her own doing. And the Q&A performance is not something that we can make an excuse for. So it is unfortunate because even if Steffi did not necessarily mess up in the most epic way, there were other ladies who performed way better than her in terms of Q&A. Now, another thing that might have rattled Steffi or might have given her the idea that, you know, maybe she's not the best when it comes to Q&A, I think one of the factors was just the negativity and those viral videos of a group of vloggers and a group of industry people dissing her and telling her that she's over the top, telling her that, you know, they're not sold on the idea of being a queendera. Unfortunately, these are also some of the people who are connected either with some members of the organization or the management itself. So if they have the same observations of Steffi, then it wouldn't be far-fetched to think that some key members of the organization might have felt the same way. So I just feel like maybe Steffi was really at a dead end, because no matter how well she did with the other segments of the competition, it still boils down to the fact that maybe outwardly they're very supportive of her, but maybe just due to the fact that she's undefeated, she's from KF, and that maybe her personality doesn't necessarily align with who they think should represent Miss Universe, someone more toned down, someone more you know, with a lesser personality that's more for the masses, then yeah, I really don't think that Steffi will advance any further, unfortunately. When people say nasty things on social media, it's really different when it's coming from someone who's faceless, someone who doesn't have a stake in your life. But when you are getting all of these negative feedback, and they're not just even negative, they're really nasty feedback coming from a group of people with a face, with a position, with businesses that are connected to the actual competition, it's a little different. And maybe that also affected Steffi. Of course, she's not going to outwardly admit it, but I have talked to some people in Steffi's circle saying that that really affected her. So moving forward, I feel like sponsors, maybe vloggers, or maybe personalities associated with the organization should tread lightly or should be more careful next time. First runner-up went to Maureen. I honestly thought that Maureen could have gotten a higher position, but I don't know, because it's a little confusing this year. They have first runner-up, they have Miss Charity and Miss Tourism. So I don't know if this is technically considered third runner-up or if this is first runner-up, as in if something happens to the winner, first runner-up gets to assume her position. So I'm really not so sure about the weight of a first runner-up finish, but I honestly felt that Maureen could have moved slightly higher than her position. Miss Charity, of course, went to Victoria. Now, for Victoria, I don't know. I have always rooted for Victoria ever since she signed up as a Miss Universe Philippines candidate. But that night, I felt that the glow just diminished a little bit. I mean, she had a beautiful gown, beautiful body, but maybe the styling just wasn't aligned to what we imagined Victoria would look like. It was just a little heavy-handed for me, the overall styling. And the presentation for each of the segments were just a little more pulled back and timid. So I don't know what held Victoria back, because this could have been her debut to really show that bubbly personality, to show that conversationalist in her, but unfortunately we really didn't get to see it. So for Victoria to win Miss Universe Philippines Charity, I think that she would do a really good job, because, you know, she does have a softness in her, and if the idea is for Victoria to go around and have more interactions with charitable organizations or charitable endeavors, I think Victoria would do a really good job. A lot of people are so upset about Katrina Dimaranan finishing technically first runner-up, or in this case tourism, because when Katrina went for the Binibining Pilipinas title a long time ago, she also won the tourism title. So I don't know if they realized this, maybe not, because of course these are a different set of judges, but it was definitely a slap in the face for Katrina to be stuck with the same title. And, you know, just that sinking feeling that, you know, she did everything, she is statuesque and beautiful, and undoubtedly Filipina in features, and yet she won't be able to compete internationally. And I will attribute this to her overall styling and also her demeanor at the show. There were so many instances at the show that she could have really showed her power, her strength, and just like Victoria, she also pulled back. I don't know if it's exhaustion, or I don't know if that's really her when it comes, let's say, also to pasarela, because I always had the idea that, you know, she's going to be like a bombshell on the runway. But every time I see her walk, every time I see her pasarela, it's always a little tentative, a little clipped. I don't know why. Maybe that's just the way she is. And it also didn't help that her styling was just a little heavy-handed that evening. She had a simple dress. It was by VJ Floresca. Had it been just that simple dress, I think it would have worked. If they had a styling that was more similar to the editorial photo shoot that came with it, then I think she would have been more successful. But I think now we have a realization that maybe they're not really going to crown someone as mature as Katrina. Katrina decided to go independent, and maybe they have decided to just really not choose someone who is a crossover from Binibini. But then again, these are all assumptions from me and the pageant fans who are just so keen to look into the little details. And then, of course, Gigi Gomez emerged as the winner of Miss Universe Philippines. Now, this, of course, is mostly heartbreaking for the fans of Steffi and Katrina, but I think a lot of people did not see it coming that Beatrice would actually charge in the competition, because a lot of people thought that this time around they will choose someone more experienced, as we don't have a lot of time for, to train a dark horse, without realizing the fact that Luigi has been in the pageant scene in Cebu for so many years. She understands this. Just like Steffi, she knows how this goes. She knows that, moving steadily in the competition could actually make you win a crown. Now, she was amongst the others with long legs, beautiful physique, a beautiful face. Yeah, that's already a given. But a few hours before the final show, I also did like a non-committal pics at Titas of Pageantry, and there I wrote that Luigi is actually the safest choice. First of all, she already has all of the attributes that we asked for. She's tall at 5'9". She's a member of the LGBTQA plus community, which means that she can talk about her causes, talk about equality, talk about the community, and not just be a mere supporter, but an actual member, giving everything that she'll be saying more weight. She is also a Navy reservist, which means that we are dealing with someone with a genuine love for the country. She is safe because she is, of course, part of the dominant camp at Miss Universe Philippines, Aces and Queens, which means that, automatically she is in the good graces of these people running the show, or the circus, however you call it. Next, she is from Cebu, which means that if Steffi doesn't advance further, she would inherit that good chunk of Steffi's fan base, as well as the fan base from the regions of Visayas and Mindanao. So again, for Bea, this is a win-win situation, because she could actually have a chance to keep the peace. And another thing about Bea is that she knows that in the competition, you don't really have to shine, you don't really have to be the most flamboyant of the performers, but you just really have to gain points at every segment, because at the end of it, checking your papers, you'll get to see that you actually scored in all of those vital aspects of the competition. Things that are missing from your competitors may be things that you have on your score sheet. So whatever it was, whatever reason it was, it may be because she definitely was the choice of the organization in the first place. Bea didn't really have fantastic missteps in the competition. She cruised along steadily, she was in the middle, and in the end, it worked for her. Moving forward, I feel that Bea should really bank on her fiercer looks so that it wouldn't confuse the fans. Every time she would go a little bit on the sweeter side, I think we have to match the personality with the looks. If they have a little bit of more time, maybe, yes, polish her on Q&A, have her become more commanding, become more sure of her answer, and also give her more personality development training, because right now, even her social media engagements aren't that high, and even her social media engagements doesn't really say a lot about her. So I hope that she would have more interactions with her fans, and I hope that at Miss Universe for her prep work that she would have more of a say on how she wants to present herself. And I feel like the organization or her management that's backing her up will definitely say something, will definitely guide her and work with the organization of Miss Universe Philippines towards the goal of at least maintaining the Philippines' unbreakable 11-year streak. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you have more of an understanding why the results came to be this way, and if this is a way for us to move on and really leave the past with all of our favorites, then yes, I think now would be a good time to look at what Bea Luigi can offer to the table and be supportive with whatever it is that is in store for her. So there you go, guys. This is a little lengthy, but then again, this is a special comprehensive review. But for now, I will say goodbye, good night, and please watch out for my special evening gown review next. Goodbye.